Hello everyone, I'm Lloyd Barwick, this is Gin Opinion, and we're very pleased today to have Tom Rudman here from Corner 53 Distillery. So we'll see you after the intro. Right, hiya Tom.
Hi, how you doing?
Thank you very much for coming and giving up your evening on this cold winter's...
Absolute pleasure. It's very cold.
Yeah, and in front of us we have your fantastic range of gins. Now, we'll start off then with saying that your background is as a mixologist. And that's where you came
absolutely.
from to the gin distilling business. So, what brought you into it then? What made that leap from mixologist to gin distiller?
So it was a real emphasis on sort of controlling my own work life and really trying to build something that would go forward and sort of provide and create jobs for people. And that sort of led to kind of asking that question, what can I do? What have I set myself up to do? And I'm very lucky, I've got very supportive parents, and when I asked for a bit of space in their garden, they it's not even a particularly big garden, so can I have that strip down the side? And they said yes, and built the shed up as well. But we kind of the mixology, chefing and bartending background kind of just gave me that background and flavour more than anything, and that kind of just that ability to experiment more than anything, just that kind of ability to play, I think, more than anything.
Well, you've described it as a shed. We've been to your distillery, and it's a lovely little distillery. Two lovely copper pot. I think got two 60-litre copper pots.
Absolutely.
There. Rosy and
War Machine.
Aptly
named after AC/DC songs.
That's right. You said it with a heavy metal name. So, here are your gins. Now, I suppose the first question is, which was the first of these 5 gins that you produced?
So we started with Pomelo, so that's our pink grapefruit and wormwood gin. We kind of started developing that just to kind of try and teach ourselves how to start distilling, and we're completely self-taught. Literally, the process was just locking me in a shed and sort of going, right, he'll learn eventually. He'll make some real rubbish, but he'll learn eventually. And I started out with Pomelo because I thought it'd be the easiest. It's all fresh fruit, so fresh pink grapefruit, fresh apple, fresh pear, fresh lemon, and the original recipe had asparagus in as well. So it was this real sort of mixture of fresh ingredients. I thought that'd be easy, but it's actually one of the most difficult. It's the hardest one we actually took to actually develop, because it suffers from the ouzo effect.
Yeah.
So, there are really easy ways of dealing with it, but we actually went round. We developed a whole new way of dealing with the ouzo effect by working with the theoretical chemistry department of the University of York. So it was a real sort of interesting development process with that gin, and then we moved on to Cherokee, and those two were kind of developed in parallel, and then finally Umami, which was like a bit of a shot in the dark. So butternut squash and shiitake mushrooms, sun-dried tomato, baby plum tomato, rosemary and coriander. Kind of melted people's brains when we first started off, but it's really popular, and that was kind of like it was the first attempt at the recipe, and it hasn't changed that much since.
Wow.
Like the occasional shiitake mushroom dial down.
Very lucky.
It's good fun.
We were just saying, of course, that well, actually, I'll come back to that one, because we'll go back to the Pomelo, which is your sort of citrus gin, beautifully citrus. 41%. You put these out, don't you? 41%, and it's really lovely. It's fresh. It's a perfect G&T gin.
Thank you very much.
Now, Cherokee has some colour, so you're obviously infusing this after with maple syrup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So 100% pure Canadian maple syrup.
Yep.
Quite a lot of the stuff we get on the UK market is corn syrup flavoured with maple. We import the real stuff, and that just gives it that slight golden colour. And it's just that little bit of sweetness, but not too much. It's not a gin liqueur. It's very much a real pure gin, but just with that little bit of extra, and it kind of stands in the stead of oak aging.
Right.
So it kind of develops that flavour.
Yeah. And it's sarsaparilla, of course, in there as well.
Yeah,
which is a very unusual botanical, not seen it used before.
I absolutely love it, and like it's that kind of halfway house between vanilla, licorice, and pepper, and there's that real sort of American feel to it as well, that prohibition soft drink. And it was actually a secret ingredient in Coke and Pepsi for about 100 years.
Really?
And still flavours cola bottles.
Well, I've got another great fact for you for sarsaparilla. it's used to create medicine for syphilis. Believe it or not, when I was doing some,
Oh dear, you found me out.
I was doing some research on your gin, and I looked up sarsaparilla and thought, well, and that was a Wikipedia
I like
fact.
that.
So there we are. There's one to throw.
Like
in.
there might be in need of a rebrand now. I'm sure I can work something in about
Yeah.
syphilitic cures.
Yeah, so we have a second glance at everybody who buys a bottle now. But there we go. So then we come on to umami. Now, we've just been chatting about umami before we started, and this is one of the earlier batches and has more shiitake in, does it, than the later batches?
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
love it. It's a really great sort of herbaceous, I don't know, spicy is not quite the word. Green tomato certainly in there. I get green tomatoes beautifully when I drink it. Sally loves it, and it's a really different gin, isn't it? It's very different to most gins.
It's really out there, and it's just a very, very different flavour. But that kind of monosodium glutamate you get from naturally occurring in shiitake mushrooms and sun-dried tomatoes, our taste buds are automatically programmed to hook on to that flavour, and it should be used more in drinks. And if you think about why Bloody Mary is so great, it's that savoury kick. It's from the Worcester sauce and the tomato juice. So sun-dried tomatoes and that, and baby plum tomatoes, and that kind of real richness as well. Seemed like a no-brainer to us, but then people went a little bit like, what have you made? Oh God.
We think it's delicious. It's a really great gin, and if you want a gin to drink with a meat and cheese board, it's the beauty, isn't it? It is just perfectly suited for that.
Interesting enough, it's the only one that I still really go to as like a recreational gin. That as a point now, I tend not to drink my own products unless I'm tasting them as part of like quality assurance. But umami, I still go back to if I'm having a charcuterie board, or like I absolutely love it with like balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and focaccia, and it just cuts through that fattiness but complements savoury flavour rather than contrasting.
It certainly does. It's great for that reason. Now we'll come on to one of your other very quirky gins. Now, I remember when we visited, you were developing LMP, which stands for lemon meringue pie, which always brings a smile to our customers' faces, and they're always stunned to learn that you actually bake lemon meringue pies.
Absolutely.
To make this gin.
So it all stemmed from a conversation I had with another distiller who makes a rhubarb and custard gin. And his rhubarb and custard gin, it doesn't have rhubarb or custard in, which I've like kind of made my head explode. I was like, what? It was like, well, you can't distill custard. It's like, and apparently Jamie came home the next day after we had this encounter, and I was just whisking meringue in the kitchen ferociously, and like, but. Literally, it's we bake 6 kilos of sweet shortcrust pastry, 8 kilos of lemon curd, and 3 kilos of meringue, and the lemon curd goes into the bottom of the still, high power blender with juniper, lemon peel, a little bit of almond, and then we layer pastry, meringue, and lemon peel in the column. So all the vapour passes through that as well, and it's buttery. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but no added sugar. It's got a real sort of creaminess to it, a creamy lemon from the lemon curd, and we vacuum distilled lemon curd to go in there as well, so we're heating it like 38 degrees under pressure, and that gives you a really deep creaminess to it as well. And it's my favourite thing we've made, just because it goes nuts.
It's great. Funnily enough, Sally and I tried all these 4 last night. We tried them all, and we tried them neat, and we got to LMP, and we had a little sip, and we thought, well, Tom's left the LMP out of this drink, but it was such a great advertisement for tonic, because we then added an equal measure of tonic, and it was a transformation.
Absolutely,
it was absolutely there. Then
you're completely
LMP
right,
there.
and With this one, we leave it at 47. So it actually locks in. So below 46, that essential oil becomes visible. It jumps out of the spirit. You can smell it a lot more. Locking it in there at 47, when you actually add that tonic water, it goes that night, it looshes in the glass.
It does.
You get that kind of meringue colour, and then you get that real burst of lemon.
It just releases that lemon meringue pie flavour without a shadow of a doubt. There's lemon meringue pie there.
It's something totally different, and it really does. It's locked in there really well. It's so neat. You just need that little bit of dilution, whether that's just stirred over ice in a martini, even like a little bit of soda water if you're not a fan of tonic water. It just needs that little bit of dilution, then it comes alive.
It does,
but
absolutely.
Most people mix gin and tonic, so I very much wanted it to tailor best to that.
Yeah, and at 47% again, it's just right there where it needs to be. When you put your tonic in, it's still, a spirit drink. It's still got good spirit.
We want it to have that body as well, and like that real creaminess on the palate, and it really coats your mouth really well.
It's very oily. It's wonderful. So on to the last gin. Now you've just walked in with this gin. We've never seen this gin before. This is your latest creation, and this is hot, not pink.
Hot, yeah.
So
we get hot pink so much, and I want to underline it on all the labels. Just
right, I will get it when we start to sell it. This is not pink gin.
Absolutely.
Because you have made a pink gin for the pink gin drinkers that isn't pink but drinks like a pink gin.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful. And you were telling us that the production method for this is again quite different and quite unique.
Yeah. So we really do pride ourselves in kind of fusing together that culinary chemistry and classic distilling. And you can bond them together really nicely. In this one, we're sous-videing fresh blackberries, local honey and lemon, 50 degrees for 4 hours in vac pack, and then what you're doing is just slowly breaking down the cell walls of the fruit, really gently breaking it down, almost when you're like making a jam, and it gives you that really light sweetness, really light colour. And that's the thing, it's not artificially pink, it's not bubblegum pink. It's got a nice Provence hint to it. It doesn't need anything else. No. It doesn't need to be like bioluminescent to give you that quality. It's completely natural, and then when you actually start mixing it, you get the pomelo coming through as well, because we use that as a base. So more pink grapefruit, more apple, more lemon, more pear, finished off with a really nice berry finish. And it's natural, it's fantastic. Hello. It's natural and it's absolutely fantastic. It's really celebrating kind of local produce around us as well, because some of the hives are about 100 metres from the house. So literally, some of the pollen might be from our garden, which is great.
That is about as local as you can get then. That's great. And,
absolutely.
And we've just tried it. It's a beautiful sipping gin. It only needs the slightest dash of tonic in it, because it really is a gin that I would sit and sip quite easily all night. It's great. When will we be able to have this? When can you get some?
Got 6 bottles.
Oh, there we are. We get that. We got it.
You've got the sales pitch on camera.
Fantastic. All right. So that's great. That would be great to get that in. So they're the gins. We love them. We love the Corner 53 range. They're beautifully presented. And on that note, you whip with coloured cord all the necks of the bottles.
Absolutely.
Who does that? Do you do that, or?
It's a combination of a lot of us now.
Really?
We're on track to sell a fair few bottles this year, so we've all got. You can tell us because we have calluses on the inside. The
whipper's finger.
All of the Corner 53 team have the same marks on their hands.
Because that takes some doing. That is not a tiny little piece of string. It's cord. And it's beautifully done. It's just perfectly whipped.
We want everyone to know that there is love going into every product, and I think that it's a really good way of showing it to people that there's time spent on everyone, because there's a good sort of like 5-6 minutes finishing off each bottle, and that's hand signing each label, hand bottle and batch numbering each label, hand applying everything, everything's hand sealed, and then that string goes on over the top, and it's a natural fibre, and then we just run a strip of glue down the back just to make sure it stays on there in people's houses.
We haven't had one come apart, so
some of the early batches weren't glued, and as you start seeing them unravel, it's like, oh no, a bottle's in Sydney. But yeah, it was.
Great.
It's very much just trying to show that there's real attention to detail in absolutely everything we do.
Yeah.
And that mentality goes through every step of the process, from the organic grain neutral spirit all the way through to the strip. And that's how we try to endorse the product.
And the result is clear to see. Beautiful gins, well presented. We love them, and we will continue to offer them to our customers with glee because we love to sell them.
Thank you very much.
So thanks for coming tonight, Tom.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
It's been wonderful, and we'll come and see you in the spring up at Corner
absolutely.
53.
We'll have loads more of interest, loads more interesting stuff going on next year. So and loads more seasonals and mad little experiments.
We can't wait. We'll come and see you.
Oh, and roast dinner gin.
Roast dinner gin.
Yeah.
Right, that.
I'll send you down some samples.
That's a date. We got to come and see that one. Right, so thanks, Tom. And,
Thank you very much.
have a
Thank
good
you for having me.